Welcome to the New Books Network.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Ferry. Welcome to another rebroadcast from the RTB archives.
From Brandeis University, welcome to Recall This Book, where we assemble scholars and writers from different disciplines to make sense of contemporary issues, problems, and events. I'm John Plotz, and our RTB virtual guest today is the great novelist Ben Fountain. He's most recently the author of a 2018 collection of essays, Beautiful Country, Burn Again. A lot of those, I first saw a lot of those in The Guardian. But he's also the recipient of a Penn Hemingway Award for Brief Encounters with Che Guevara, Stories of 2007, and the National Book Critics Circle Award for Fiction for his debut novel, and this is how I first came to know his wonderful fiction, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk from 2012. And it was also made into a movie, kind of a weird movie, I thought, by Ang Lee. Ben, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. So this is another installment in our Books in Dark Times series, which asks what books we turn to for guidance, sustenance, and encouragement at moments like this. So as you can probably guess from the title, it takes its inspiration from Hannah Arendt's Men in Dark Times. And one of the things that book argues is, quote, that even in the darkest of times, we have the right to expect some illumination, and that such illumination may well come less from theories and concepts than from the uncertain, flickering, and often weak light that some men and women in their lives and their works, so we're thinking about books especially, will kindle under almost all circumstances and shed over the time span that was given them on earth. So the questions that I'm going to start asking Ben today are the same ones that apply to you, dear listeners. We want to know what kind of works are sustaining you, what is engaging you, what is irking or prodding you to action at this strange and dark time. So Ben, one of the things that a lot of these conversations have been about that question of whether what you want in the world building of the books that you turn to, is it the capacity to just be in that other space for a while, or it sometimes seems like what people want is a capacity to recognize their own world in that book, so that they could either be a this worldly or a that worldly experience.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think there is, the old Venn diagram overlap going there. And to the extent that you do disappear into the story, eventually you come out. But if the experience of the story, that particular part of the story, has been powerful enough, it's going to stay with you.
Can I say it's so interesting for me to talk to you, because my formation, because of, like my own PhD work, was so much through British writers. And so when you and I are talking, I always notice that your formation is such American writers. Like, you think about our country. Is that generally true, or is that just, yeah?
Yeah. I was a literature major at University of North Carolina, and I was so lucky. I had great professors, and I made it a point to try to take courses in things that I figured I probably wouldn't read otherwise. Like, I figured I probably wouldn't read John Dryden, and
yeah, I had to read him for a class. Yeah,
probably wouldn't read, many of the Victorian poets. And there are lots of things that I felt like I'm probably not going to read this on my own. And so I went out of my way to study those writers. And I ended up doing my honors thesis on Alan Tate.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The fugitive poet and novelist and essayist. And I did a year's worth of work on Ezra Pound, obviously, another American. But I feel like I have a decent undergraduate level grounding in British literature. And so, it's there. But I find what when I follow my head and my heart, it usually focuses on America.
And that was really my question. It wasn't meant to be a, like, let's compare our book lists question. It was because I think I'm coming, now in my 50s. For me, like, people like Mark Twain and Willa Cather are coming alive and science fiction too, in a way they hadn't before. So when I follow my heart now, I'm going more towards American writers. And I was sort of wondering, had it sounds like it's kind of always been the case for you that your heart has always been somewhere in the American canon.
Well, yeah, when I started writing, believe me, I did not have a plan. I mean, I practiced law for 5 years and then quit cold turkey and started writing. But as the years have gone by, I've found that's where my instincts lead me.
Mm-hmm.
Often the stories are dealing with Americans who abroad or who have had formative experiences abroad.
Yeah.
And they might still be overseas, or maybe they've come home.
Yeah.
I mean.
So Joan Didion, is she interesting to you?
Oh my God, she is the master.
She's amazing, isn't she? Yeah.
I think she's one of the great American writers.
Yeah.
And a book of hers I've been thinking about, and this was even before I tried to watch the movie that was made of it, is The Last Thing He Wanted.
Oh, I don't know it. I've never read it. Yeah.
Yeah, they recently a movie was released. It was either Netflix or Amazon or HBO. They adapted it for film, not very successfully. But I think The Last Thing He Wanted is a great American novel, and it deals. I mean, the context is the dirty wars in Central America in the 1980s and American involvement in those,
right.
and it's just a masterpiece of tone and mood and character. And this really profound interiority of the two main characters that is processing these larger macro geopolitical forces, and it's a hard thing to do. She does it very well.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking the book I know that's like that is Democracy, which is obviously about the Far East, not Central America.
Yeah.
But I like. I mean, it really reminded me of Conrad, and I think that point I agree with, that it's interiority all the way down, but only when you go into the interiors, what you find is like these macroscopic struggles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's the interior life, and then the public life, the external life, the social life, but they're all bound up together. Yeah. And there's obviously no clear dividing line. It was around 2004 when George W. Bush got elected. I won't say he got reelected. But when he got elected, and I came to the realization I don't understand my country.
Yeah.
And so I started consciously seeking out writers who had gone straight at the problem, the mystery of what is America.
Yeah.
And Joan Didion was very high on that list.
Yeah, Marilynne Robinson. Marilynne Robinson.
Absolutely. Let's see. The first were Joan Didion, Norman Mailer.
Yeah.
James Baldwin.
Yeah.
Gary Wills.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of great work.
Yeah.
And then I found my way to Marilynne Robinson.
Yeah.
And she continues to be a revelation. With her books of essays, and then the things she's currently publishing in Harper's and the New York Review.
Oh, I don't know those. What is? Yeah.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, great.
The last thing I read by her was this deep dive into the Puritans and the Puritan legacy.
Oh, I have read a couple of those actually. Yeah. Yeah.
And they're very nourishing, but they go down like they go down easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like she's telling stories.
Yeah. I still will pick her fiction over her nonfiction any day of the week. I mean, she's a great writer. I agree with you, but Housekeeping still strikes me. Like when you go back that question, the way you raised it, I don't understand my country. Like what is going on, inside of us? I feel like Housekeeping has there's something there about those who stay and those who go. The way that we're a country that's defined by like our tight knit communities, but also this, the emphasis on being able to light out for the territories at the same time, and that makes you kind of disaffected and alienated, even though it makes you free too. And yeah, she's amazing.
Yes, she is. Zadie Smith has been writing great stuff. Again, in the magazines, New York Review of Books and Harper's, and I mean, she is looking directly at contemporary issues,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I see something by her, I immediately grab it.
Yeah.
And I think the latest thing she had in the New York Review of Books was a piece on Kara Walker.
Oh yeah, Kara Walker. Yeah, the sugar baby. She's amazing.
That is a great American artist. She scares the living piss out of me. I mean, appropriately.
Yeah,
I mean,
appropriately. She wouldn't be doing her job. I mean, that is her
no,
job, is to scare you. Yes.
I mean, there are huge chunks of American history that should terrify us
Mm-hmm.
and terrorize us and horrify us. And Kara Walker does it like no one I've ever seen.
Well, one of the reasons I really like Arendt is her insistence that you cannot be sure that the truth will come out at any given moment. Like the flim flam can go on, the hot air can stay in the balloon a long time, but you can know that it will happen. I mean, I really appreciate her. She's pessimistic, but she's hopeful, like she has a vision of what it takes to see the truth. And like you said, so much reality. You need so much.
Yeah, her clarity of vision is really extraordinary.
Yeah. She
would not look away.
Yeah.
And there is this core of compassion and humanity to her that, I mean, she reminds me of Camus
Mm-hmm.
and James Baldwin.
Yep.
I mean, they do not look away.
Yeah.
They look with absolute clarity at the human condition. But there's this human core to them that just comes through.
Yeah.
In this very, heartening way.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, reality is stronger than all of us. I mean, and we can maintain our fantasies. Some of us can do it longer, some not as long. There are differences in scale, obviously, but what the current president has done in American life is truly extraordinary. And like all great demagogues, he's had us under a spell or in a trance ever since he came down the escalator in 2015. And sooner or later, it will break.
Yeah.
There will be too much reality.
Yeah.
But my gut is telling me that's not going to happen before November of 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ben, that's the second time you've mentioned Baldwin, and I'm glad. I was trying to lead it back there, so that's great. Can you say more about why in 2004 or now that Baldwin seemed to provide an answer for you or a roadmap?
I haven't read him systematically, and I should get those Library of America volumes down and just read them straight through.
I keep meaning to do that with him. He goes so many directions though. So I tend to get, I follow one path, like the letter to his nephew. That's one thing. And it's just, so it's hard to just read him straight through. Yeah.
I mean, his mind is so alive and so subtle. I mean, he's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 American writers, and came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which proves genius is everywhere. If it's given a chance, half a chance, 10% of a chance. I remember reading If Beale Street Could Talk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When it came out. And it came out like 76, 77, 78.
Right.
Around.
Right.
And I think I was home from college and I've always been a book nerd, and I would go to the public library once a week, and switch out my books. And it had just come out. And it was this nice hardback, and they had it, on display. So I got it and I read it. And the storyline is, I can't remember the young African American's name.
Yeah, I just saw the movie, but I can't remember anybody's name. So yeah.
But anyway, I mean, a cop in his neighborhood takes an extreme disliking to him, and it's a white cop. And our guy is black, and basically he takes the fall for a brutal rape that he was nowhere near, and he has an alibi for it, and he still takes the fall for it. And it all comes out of this very personal animus. And I mean, I was a white kid in the suburbs, in 1977, 78. And I'm reading it, and it seemed like such an extreme situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wondering, does this kind of thing really happen?
Right.
And so for years afterwards, I walked around with that in the back of my mind. And every once in a while, a data point, I call it a data point, an anecdote would come along and say, yeah, it would make me think, yeah, that stuff really does happen. And then, of course, once we got cell phones and video, I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, it's a freaking massacre out there.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I mean, I carried that book around in my head for 40 years.
Yeah.
And
Fawny and Tish, by the way. Alfonso.
Okay, Fawny. I was
Yeah.
thinking Sonny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fawny.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't believe it. I didn't disbelieve it. I was suspending belief all that time. But the facts, demonstrable facts, the proof, the evidence showed that Baldwin absolutely had it accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting.
It took me 40 years to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know. I'm really glad the movie came out. It's just funny because for me, the books that had this kind of revelatory force for me were Another Room and Giovanni's Room and Another Life. Sorry. Which were, I mean, I think were some of the first gay novels I read, and I think I must have read them at the end of high school. And my mind was kind of blown. But can I just ask, as a way of sort of making a turn towards home here, as a writer yourself, do you have thoughts about what this period brings for writing, like either your own writing or the writing of others? Like, what do you think is going to come out of our present moment?
Well, I'll talk about my own.
That'd be great.
First.
I was hoping you would. Yeah.
I'm working on a novel set in Haiti in the early 1990s that begins at the time of the first coup d'état against Jean-Bertrand Aristide during his first round in the presidency, and the coup d'état had very significant sponsorship by the American security state, the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. I mean, we were all over that coup d'état. And what resulted was a military, very brutal military regime for the next 3.5 years. Society was on lockdown. A harsh embargo was put in place on Haiti. And life really became desperate materially and politically for those 3.5 years. And I was spending a lot of time there during that time. And so I feel like writing that novel at this particular moment in time, they do have relevance to one another. I mean, societies that are on lockdown to one extent or another. And I mean, there are big differences, obviously, but just how people survive and keep themselves together in those situations is I'm finding our situation, not irrelevant.
That's very interesting. Wow. How close are you to completing that novel?
I better be close because my deadline's coming up. But I'm planning to turn it in this year.
Oh wow, great.
As for other writers, you're seeing stuff come out. Swanee Review has they just started running a website feature called the Corona Correspondence, where the editor there, Adam Ross, is inviting lots of different writers to write a letter from their city.
Yeah.
And those have been nice pieces. And there's a new website called Chronicles of Now, where the editor is asking for short fiction ripped from the headlines.
Wow.
And so, just on a particular scale that's going on. I mean, writers, they take their experiences of life, and you never know how it's going to get processed.
Yeah.
And come back out. And I remember what Norman Mailer said right after 9/11.
Yeah.
He said probably 500 writers of talent were there on the ground in Manhattan that day.
Yeah.
and they might end up writing about it directly, or they may take the substance of that experience and have it serve some other context. But one way or another, it will come out.
Right.
And I think that's true of what we're going through right now.
That's an interesting point. Yeah. I heard George Sanders reading a letter, or somebody reading a letter that he wrote to all of his students, telling them to keep a diary. Did you see this letter? And then at the end of it, he's like,
No, I haven't.
he sort of tells you all things you should be doing to process it. And he's like, of course, I'm just sitting at home drinking, but that is what I should be doing. I know. So, yeah.
Could you imagine having George Sanders as your writing
cannot.
teacher?
Yeah. He's remarkable. Well, Ben, thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. And I'll just say for the credits that Recall This Book is hosted by John Plotz and usually by Elizabeth Ferry, with music by Eric Chaslow and Barbara Cassidy, sound editing by Claire Ogden, website design and social media by Kaliska Ross. We always want to hear from you, and especially on the topic of books on dark times, with your comments, criticisms, and suggestions, and simply just what you're reading. So finally, if you enjoyed today's show, please be sure to write a review or rate us on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcast. And you might want to check out our other conversations with writers like Kim Stanley Robinson, as well as earlier conversations with such writers as Zadie Smith, Shishen Liu, and Samuel Delaney. So Ben, thank you very, very much.
Don, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. And thank you all for listening.